and to endorse his vice president, Kamala Harris.
The Biden for President campaign is now officially the Harris for President campaign. Her campaign aides telling me they are now full steam ahead for Vice President Harris.
ABC Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce. ABC's Andy Field has more from Washington.
Hey, good morning. It's the WSJM Morning Show video live stream for Monday, the 22nd day of July. Good morning, Brett.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. You had a good weekend? You
Good
played a little
weekend.
basketball? Did you eat anything?
That's always the problem. No.
No special barbecue or anything like
No.
that? Okay. When's your birthday anyway?
December.
Oh, so we've got a while to forget it. Okay, December. Good. All right. Well, a lot happened over the weekend as we've been talking about the president deciding that his critics were right, that he should drop out. And a lot changes when the head of the party makes an announcement like that. He's still the president, so he should still be the head of the party. But now you have Kamala Harris, who the president has endorsed as his successor.
Half hour after he announced.
A half hour after he made the initial announcement. I'm still puzzled by that. I think it was a sign. I think it was a sign because did he put out the first letter and forget? Did he put out the first letter and say, okay, I'm not going to put this in this because this seems like it's government work and we shouldn't mix campaign work or something along those? It's just very odd. Just very odd.
Yeah, and almost like, oops, I forgot. And by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so the Democrat Party will have an open process, so we can talk more about that if you want to, or whatever else. The Secret Service is testifying on Capitol Hill today. We'll talk about an airline flight, Southwest, getting really close to the flight deck, and it must have been scary for passengers. So we'll talk about that and more. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Local news is coming up next.
Everything you need to start breathing better fast. Check out Navage at your local Sam's Club today. Navage, Navage. Breathe easy.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And good morning. Welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. My co-host this morning is Brett Witkowski. We'll talk more about some of the news that's happening around the world in just a few minutes. But first, talking about local news. Berrien County 911 Central Dispatch officials are looking at expanding the technology they use for first responders, in part so the first responders can be even faster in responding to emergencies than they are now. Speaking to the Berrien County Board of Commissioners, 911 Director Caitlin Samsell said CAD Mobile is a public safety software that shows dispatchers the details of each call that they're sent on. They're thinking of expanding that use to computers, phones, and tablets used by first responders all over the county. Samsell described how that could take place.
If we have be on the lookout out for a missing person with details, and that will then have the ability for them to access that. Say it happened on the morning shift or coming in the afternoon, they're now aware of that.
Samsell said because Central Dispatch works with around 50 partner agencies, including police, fire, and EMS services, expanding the CAD system would be complicated, but they have begun early talks already on how to do that.
IS needs to know how many servers they need to have, where those servers need to reside. Is there fiber that needs to be put in between agencies? What kind of hardware is needed? How many devices are we talking about? All kinds of different things.
Other questions include who would pay for expanded use of the service. Berrien County Administrator Brian Doucette said having the CAD system readily available could help first responders get to where they need to go more quickly and accurately. However, he said a committee that's been formed to study the issue is only in its earliest talks. Doucette said they're going to take a deep dive into the matter before anything proceeds. Benton Township is looking to sell some condominium properties it owns near Nickerson Avenue and M139. At last week's meeting of the Benton Township Board of Trustees, Clerk Carolyn Phillips said the township owns 15 parcels in the Manor Woods condominium development that could be developed into housing. She said Indiana Michigan Power wants to move the power lines on those properties, but can't unless given permission by the township.
When they put down the electric lines, and I'm not sure who did that, they put the lines almost in the middle of the lot, so now we're selling those.
Trustees voted to name Phillips and Supervisor Kathy Yates as designated signers for activities related to the sale of the sites. This will allow the power lines to potentially be moved. The township has owned the properties since 2008. They're located just off Summer Layton Road. The Berrien Community Foundation is once again helping students and families get ready to go back to school with its Backpacks for Good event. By providing over 1,100 backpacks filled with school supplies, the foundation is helping alleviate financial burdens to families with students in the 49022 zip code and the surrounding area. This year, the foundation will hold 4 different Backpack for Good events, and program director Susan Matheny said the event has grown over the years and that it is quite unique.
You think about the summer and the costs of having your children out of school and home all summer, it can be really expensive for some families and real hard to meet that budget. Backpacks for Good is our way of trying to say, let's help the community help each other to get through that and to make sure everybody has what they need.
The school supply event will take place over 4 days at 4 different locations within Berrien County. Starting Thursday, August 1 at Eau Claire schools, students all across Berrien County will be able to receive a backpack and school supplies to get ready for the school year. The biggest event will be held on August 6 during Benton Harbor's National Night Out, which will include public safety officers, firemen, live entertainment, and more. We have the full list of pickup locations at our website, WSJM.com. And a continued emphasis on unity in the Republican Party. That's the reason Grosse Pointe businessman Sandy Pensler dropped his U.S. Senate bid, deciding to rally around former U.S. Representative Mike Rogers. Pensler made his decision public at the Trump rally in Grand Rapids this past weekend, appearing on stage with the former president and Rogers. Rogers is considered the GOP frontrunner, but must compete with former U.S. Representative Justin Amash in the August 6th primary. Democrats will decide the nomination between U.S. Representative Alyssa Slotkin and Detroit actor Hill Harper. That's a look at some of the news that we're covering from the WSJM newsroom. We've got sports. Dave Wolf is back from vacation, and we got a whole lot more to talk about right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Major League Baseball on Sunday. George Springer hit 2 home runs, including his 58th lead.
Okay, we're back. All right. So we've talked about the president stuff. Again, that was Sunday timing. Some people, some of the talking heads that I've seen on the network news have said that the reason President Biden made his announcement this weekend was that he really didn't see an opportunity to make it prior to that. He was thinking about making it the week prior. But then there was the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. That all of a sudden called for a moment of stability, right?
That lasted for a week
in national politics, and that lasted for, I would say, less than a week. And then all of a sudden, yesterday around a little after 1 o'clock.
Spider behind you.
Is it inside the building or outside the building?
Inside, right there.
Where? Oh, look at that! Well, he's a friendly little guy. He's not going to hurt
your side.
He's not going to hurt anybody. He's black with little yellow stripes on him.
How did he get in there?
That is a good question. Have you ever? You don't seem like you're a friend of the spiders.
No.
Have you ever gently taken a spider and put him outside after finding him inside?
Yeah.
Did you know that probably ended his life just a little bit longer though, because the inside spiders are typically the kind that are supposed to be inside. You put them outside, and then they're all of a sudden new prey for the big spiders outside.
I can live with that.
You can sleep okay at night with that?
Okay. It was longer than he would have had if he'd stayed inside.
True. Yeah. A smashing defeat. So, yeah, this will be an interesting week in news. I mean, as a news person, I really enjoy the fast pace of developments and how things have developed here, because it's just fascinating to see how the machine, the democracy continues to work and chug along. You know, if this were you think about it, if this were a third world country and these kinds of things would be happening, might be chaos, right? There might be riots in the street.
Yeah.
So it's comforting to know that here in the comfort of democracy, things are going to be okay.
Well, we haven't got through the Chicago convention yet, though.
That's true.
I mean, there's chaos in Chicago every weekend.
Yeah, well, that's true.
With all the shootings.
That is true. That is true. We'll talk about this on the air in just a moment, but there was a Southwest flight that was very low. Federal Aviation Administration is investigating. There was a Boeing 737 MAX operated by Southwest Air, and they apparently got
Southwest Air.
Well, have you ever flown in an aircraft and it's been during regular flight 150 feet from the ground? A 737 MAX supposed to be cruising along, and it's 150 feet from the ground. When you're taking off and when you're landing, that's the only time you're supposed to be. That's the only time you're supposed to be 150 feet from the ground.
Okay. Yeah, I have his son-in-law flying Southwest today.
Well, we'll talk about this story, and maybe he'll reconsider in just a moment.
Getting ready to take off in a little bit.
You got a lot of people in planes.
Yeah, my I forgot to button my collars. My one daughter flew from.
Yeah, how long was her delay?
About 2 hours.
Okay.
And then probably an hour and a half coming back.
That's not too bad.
No, I didn't think so, because a lot of flights just flat out didn't get canceled or got canceled. And she flew Delta and then flew to my other daughter who had her birthday this weekend.
Okay, we'll be right back and talk more.
This morning, we'll see sun and clouds mix today, highs near 80. A stray shower can't be ruled out, elsewise dry. Lake Michigan's waves staying low. Partly cloudy skies stick around overnight, cooling to the low 60s. Tuesday, similar in the low 80s with a mix of sun and clouds, a stray shower possible. Humidity on the rise this week. An incoming front brings rain and storm chances Wednesday. I'm WSBT 22 meteorologist Jessica Burns.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Hey, good morning, Bill. Looking on the video live stream, Bill's back. It seemed like he was.
Bill?
Yeah, it seems like he was out for a couple of days last
Where
week.
was he?
I don't know. Maybe he'll tell us, but he's back, so it's good to see him. 64 degrees out in Benton Harbor right now. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We're talking about the video live stream, which is over on Facebook, YouTube. Go type WSJM, turn on the video. It's great. The thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, Brett, this morning is because you say you like Southwest Air.
I do.
You and your family members fly it. The Federal Aviation Administration said over the weekend that it is investigating a Southwest Airlines flight after it flew at a very low altitude over Tampa Bay. That's in Florida, which is a big safety concern. The July 14th flight by a Southwest Boeing 737 MAX that had departed from Columbus, Ohio, was approximately 3 miles from the Tampa airport. So it's getting ready for its landing, but it's still 3 miles out, and it dropped to as low as about 175 feet from the flight deck.
Mm.
So they are 3 miles from where they're supposed to land, and they are, some reports have 150 feet, but they're 175 feet above the water, and that is a big jet. And so if you've ever been in a plane and flown above the water like that, it's like you could reach out and touch the water. It's that close. And if you were to hit the water at that speed, that would probably end the flight right then and there. According to the Flight Radar 24 data, a lot of people have that app. I have it because you want to see, hey, what plane is that? You just look on your app and they tell you. But they were 3 miles from Tampa. They were as low as 175 feet. An air traffic controller alerted the crew of the Southwest flight, it was Flight 425, to their low altitude, and the plane was diverted to Fort Lauderdale. Now, Southwest said Saturday it's in contact with the FAA to understand and address any irregularities following the flight. They say nothing's more important to Southwest than the safety of the customers and the employees. It was the latest in a string of Southwest flight incidents that have raised safety concerns, including a Southwest 737 flight in April that came within 400 feet of the ocean off of Hawaii after the first officer inadvertently pushed forward on a control column and the plane hit a maximum descent rate of about 4,400 feet per minute. Now, the FAA is also investigating another very low altitude Southwest flight about 9 miles from the Oklahoma City airport. That happened on June 19th when they departed from Las Vegas and dropped to about 500 feet. After an alert sounded, an air traffic controller alerted the flight crew and they took action. Now, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board and FAA are also investigating a Southwest 737 MAX flight that happened in May that experienced a Dutch roll at 34,000 feet. That's a lateral asymmetric movement called a Dutch roll after an ice skating technique that can pose serious safety risks. Why would they do a Dutch roll? That's weird.
Never heard of a Dutch roll.
The FAA,
unless it's a donut.
You don't. The FAA
is that a new donut? Dutch roll.
It might be. They're also taking a look at a Southwest flight that departed a Maine airport on June 25th, but the runway they used was actually closed at the time.
Oops.
Yeah. So Southwest Airlines, some issues there.
There's some orange cones out there. They do them.
Well, you've seen when they've closed runways.
I don't fly that much.
They have huge barriers, big X's all over the place, stuff you can literally see from the sky, so that the pilots on the ground maybe they didn't notice. I don't know.
Oops.
Yeah, that's a big oops. Other stuff that's happening in business news. You want to talk about the security stuff? You want to talk about banks? Let's talk about banks.
I want to talk about baseball.
You want to talk about
basketball?
Baseball? Okay, we can do that. Hold that thought. But let's talk about banks first, because banks are where we keep our money. Unless you go to a credit union, then you can keep it there, or you can put it in your mattress. A top U.S. bank regulator has a confidential assessment out. It's not supposed to be out, but the confidential assessments found 11 of the 22 large banks that it supervises. This is a U.S. bank regulator. 11 of the 22 large banks it supervises have insufficient or weak management of a broad swath of risks, ranging from cyber attacks to employee blunders. That's according to Bloomberg News. They reported this yesterday. About 1/3 of the banks secured ratings of 3 or below on a 5-point scale for their overall management of risk. These are confidential assessments by the Office of Comptroller of the Currency. The OCC did not respond to requests for comment. The OCC did say in a statement that acting comptroller, they didn't respond widely. They responded to Bloomberg, who had the initial report, in a statement that acting comptroller Michael Hsu has consistently discussed the need for banks to guard against complacency and actively manage their risks in order to build and maintain trust in the federal banking system. Now, the report details some of the risk issues that they found. It also follows an hours-long global computer system outage that impacted a bunch of stuff, ranging from healthcare. We saw Corewell was dealing with issues here. Healthcare, shipping, finance, and 2 days ago. Yeah, so 2 days ago, the blue screen of death was hitting a lot of Windows-based computer systems. And while I didn't feel it, did you feel anything?
Yeah, I went to get a blood test.
Oh, really?
On Saturday, and no record of it.
Oh, really? Okay. So that,
and I had matches confirmation from my physician that they had ordered it.
Okay. Well, and that was probably, I mean, I would imagine it's related to one computer system or another, but the blue screen of death was affecting a lot of systems and organizations over the weekend. We're now 4 days removed from it. And it was the cybersecurity company CrowdStrike that accidentally put that into the system and caused the failure. So
someone's not getting a good job review,
I would say.
Or even a job.
Well, I mean, the headlines were the largest IT outage in history. Do you put that on your resume?
Well, you know,
if you're looking for another job.
In politics, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity.
The largest IT outage in history, prompted by a software update from Microsoft devices, happened late Thursday. The problem started rolling in late Thursday and into the early hours of Friday. It caused disorder at airports, outages for 911 services, challenges at healthcare facilities. We heard from Corewell Health. We heard from one of the outlying counties here that they were having trouble with their 911. Berrien County's 911 was not affected.
Good.
According to the report we received.
Good.
The outage did affect an estimated 8.5 million Windows devices. That's just less than 1% of all Windows machines, but it was the largest. And you saw all the flights that it canceled.
It affected where we do our banking.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they could not take cash deposits.
Yeah, my same here. I mean, my bank account, which used to have billions of dollars in it,
That's what I heard.
is down to just a measly couple thou. No, but it did cause a lot of chaos and confusion for travelers.
Yeah, and they're still catching up on those flights.
All right, we've waited long enough. Sports ball. You wanted to talk about sports ball. There's a trading deadline happening. Is it today?
No, July 30th.
Oh, it's happening.
So teams next
We're like
Tuesday.
8 days away from it.
Yeah, but people get excited.
You see something
about
that
this.
happens next week. Who gets excited about this?
A lot of people care about baseball.
Which people? Give me one.
Myself.
Okay. All right. So what does the trading deadline mean?
So that's the last day you can trade players in the Major League season without having to go through waivers. So you can put a player.
Oh, so you can still trade.
Well, yeah, but then somebody else.
So
can
there's
pick
no
them up.
deadline at all.
No, there is.
All right.
Because you can put a player out there, but then if another team wants to mess with you, they can pick up that player. But the White Sox are definitely in a sell mode.
We don't care about the White Sox. We care about the Tigers. We care about the Cubs.
A lot of people like the White Sox.
All right, fine. What about the Tigers and Cubs?
Tigers, their manager is pushing to buy and not sell.
Okay.
And then the Cubs had that.
So they're looking to pick up players, is what you're saying.
Which I don't know. I mean,
they need do they need pitching? Are they doing all right?
They're all right. That's their hitting.
They need hitting?
Yeah, the hitting.
Okay, so last year it was pitching and hitting that they couldn't get a handle on. This year they're doing okay with the pitching. They can't score. But
Correct.
they've done okay.
But they've done well going into All-Star break. They
did. They were eight out of the last 10, I think.
Yeah. And then the Cubs end up sweeping at Baltimore. So they kind of are they moving from a sell to a buy type of mentality? I think the Tigers are 5 or 6 games out of the wild card, and then they're not going to catch the Guardians, who are way in front. But then the Cubs, I think they're only 3 games out of the wild card.
All right, here's your assignment. So between now and the final trading day, which is 100 days from now. No, 8 days.
No,
8 days.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, 8 days from now. Your assignment is to figure out who are the prospects. Who could we put? What trades could we potentially do for the Tigers and the Cubs? And if you want to throw the White Sox in there, that's fine.
White Sox is yes.
If you want to do that.
Did you see the men's Olympic team barely beats like South?
Okay,
Sudan?
now we're switching to a different sports ball.
Yeah,
basketball, the men's Olympic
It's
team.
not that hard to follow that ball.
Go for it.
Yeah, they had LeBron James had to hit a layup at the end of the game to win by 1 point.
Really? Who were they playing?
I think it was South Sudan.
Oh, geez.
It was 101 to 100. I mean, that's not a good.
That's close.
Warm-up game.
They should have put Caitlin Clark in.
Yeah, I did watch. Did you watch in the NBA?
No,
she did not have a great game. But the WNBA All-Star team beat the Olympic team.
Oh, okay.
Which
was
is
Caitlin Clark part of that?
No, she was part of the WA All-Star team,
right,
along with Angel
So she was part of the All-Star team.
Yeah.
We know she's not on the Olympic team because we think that's a mistake.
But the Olympic team lost to the All-Stars.
That's fun.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a wake-up call. You know,
should have put some different players on there.
It's hard not to argue that, but I think that'd be cool for the NBA to do.
What's that?
It would be to have the NBA Olympic team, which is versus the rest of the league in the All-Star game.
They have to do something because does anyone really watch the All-Star games, whether it's basketball or baseball or what do you call it in NFL? It's the Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl. They don't even do the Pro Bowl anymore.
Oh, they stopped that altogether because it was so bad?
Well, because that and injuries, and so they do a flag football game Pro Bowl.
Okay.
Did you check out the Major League Baseball's
All-Star? Do you think I did?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Did you see their uniforms at all? For the All-Star game?
No.
They were.
Really?
Oh.
Were they the see-through ones that were having issues?
That might have got more attention.
Let's see. So MLB
All-Star uniforms. Bring that baby up and look at those things.
What are we talking about? The peach and
They-
tan,
I liked it when
or the black and blue?
they were just horrible.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I liked
right.
it when they wore the like whatever team they played for uniforms.
Oh, yeah. I like that too.
You know,
I do like that.
I don't know.
Because in baseball, it doesn't matter that much with the team, you have that same, you have the uniform look, right?
Right.
But if it's the All-Star, yeah, rep your own home team.
Exactly.
That's what you do.
If you're home, you're wearing white of some sort. And if you're on the road, you're just not wearing white.
All right. I'm getting motion sickness here because of all the baseball and sports ball talk.
You should.
We'll
want to talk football too?
Go ahead. Quickly.
Camp starts soon. Preseason camp.
Okay. For pro?
Yeah. High school starts.
What should
in
we
a
be
couple
looking
weeks.
for on that?
I think the Lions got a much tougher schedule this year than last year.
Oh.
So that we'll see if they have come back.
Why do you say tougher? Who are we?
So the NFL makes your schedule is based on how you did the year before.
Okay.
So if you finish first in the Central Division, you're going to play the first team in the Eastern Division.
Makes sense.
If you are fifth, you play fifth, and then you have some common opponents, obviously, within your division, and then you play one of the divisions in the opposite conference. So it doesn't matter if you're first or fourth, excuse me. I think the Green Bay, even though I'm a Packer fan, I do think Green Bay is going to have a good season.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's talk more about that because I am interested
you
in
need
that
to know
piece.
how I got my first name.
Brett.
Yeah, how I got that.
We'll talk about that in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Loan rates are trending downward. Are you ready to make your move? Sturgis Bank's expert hometown lenders will guide you through the process and take the time to.
Well, let's talk about it now, and then we can decide whether or not it goes over the radio.
Oh, yeah, it's a good story.
All right. So, how did you get your first name, Brett? Most people get their first name from their parents.
Well, and I did.
Are you,
But
okay.
there was a little.
Well, that's a great story.
There was a
Did
little.
you find any money during that?
That what?
If somebody tells a really great story, not a great story, then you say, "Oh yeah," and then I found $20.
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah, that's a great story.
So, I was born in December of '67.
Okay.
Which was at the height of the Green Bay Packers dynasty.
Oh.
And they had a quarterback. So my mom was pregnant with me. My parents are both 40. My dad was 44. My mom was 42 when I was born.
Okay.
So I had a brother who was 17.
All right.
And my mom, if I was going to be a girl, my name was going to be Mary.
Okay.
If I was going to be a boy, my mom wanted to name me Bart.
Bart.
And at the same time, the Green Bay Packers had an NFL Hall of Fame quarterback named Bart Starr.
Okay.
My dad, somewhat, and my brother, though, were big Chicago Bear fans. And my mom did not want to name me Bart after Bart Starr. It had nothing to do with it. But my brother and my dad, especially my brother, were avid that I was not going to be named Bart because of them being Bear fans, and the Bears' biggest rival is the Green Bay Packers. And at that point, the Packers were dominating the Bears. And so before I was born, Bart Starr and his wife had twin sons.
Oh.
Bart Jr.
Okay.
Or Bart II, and Brett Starr.
Oh.
And my mom read it in the paper and said, well, then I'm going with the name Brett. And it was spelled the same way with one T.
Very nice.
So that is how I got my name Brett. And growing up, I read Bart Starr's biography, and he was from Alabama and all these type of things. So that is how I got my first name Brett.
And then they found $20.
Oh, man, that's brutal. I thought that was a good story.
That's a great story.
But that's how I got my name Brett.
That's interesting. Okay, so it's sports related.
Yeah.
And it fits.
Yeah.
Because you're all about the sports.
But I'm one, there aren't a lot of.
Would you rather have been a Bart?
No.
Especially
like
knowing what happened with the Simpsons?
No, I like Brett. Always
Brett's a great name. It's a very strong name, especially with one T.
Right, and that's what my mom was very adamant about it. And my both sides of my family, my parents came from a lot of kids. They each had 6 families of 6. So my one grandma must have had 23, 25 grandchildren. she never remembered the one T.
Oh,
it was always two T's, which I really didn't care. My mom would get upset.
All right, we will continue that story not in just a moment.
Oh man,
on to
is it
WSJM
8 o'clock yet?
morning show. We'll be right back.
500 did just log its worst week since April. Tech shares fell ahead of earnings from some big names this week. Adding to pressure was CrowdStrike, the firm behind a massive IT failure that grounded flights and disrupted corporations around the globe. Tomorrow, Tesla and Google's parent Alphabet will be the first of the so-called Magnificent Seven to report their earnings. And some key economic reports will grab investor attention this week, including a look at second quarter economic growth and the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. Delta Airlines is apologizing for the thousands of flights it canceled as many of its systems failed after the catastrophic IT outage by CrowdStrike. Data from aviation analytics firm Cirium showed that Delta stood out as the airline that took the biggest hit. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Can you imagine how frustrating it would be to have your flight, got everything in place, and then all of a sudden the CrowdStrike software glitch happens, and then you don't know when you're going to fly?
Yeah.
Your daughter was fortunate to only have a 2-hour delay.
Right.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's sick. Go ahead.
No, I was trying to think. The only time I think I ever had a delay back in 1987, flying back from Colorado, from Denver to Chicago.
That's a great story.
And I remember,
find any money?
I remember having to call.
Oh my gosh.
From the Denver airport.
Yeah.
And then they had a PA my parents at O'Hare
to
let them know.
Oh, because you didn't have cell phones back then. Okay. 64 degrees in Benton Harbor
I
right
got
now.
money for you.
65 degrees in St. Joseph. Today's forecast, we're looking at a decent day. Partly sunny, a 20% chance of showers and storms. I thought it was going to rain yesterday. Were you just spending any time outside yesterday?
Yeah, I was outside quite a bit.
The Mike York Car Show was over the weekend, right?
Yeah, and we didn't go to it. I drove by it setting up, and there was
a ton of people.
It was loaded.
Yeah, ton of
was
people.
Packed.
We went down to get to the farmers market on Saturday, and is that right? Saturday? Yeah, we did that on Saturday. Was that Saturday? Anyway, we went down there and just tons of people. So it was a lot of fun. People were having a great time. But forecast for today, partly sunny, 20% chance of showers, storms, high around in the lower 80s. Tonight's forecast, partly to mostly cloudy, a low of 62, light winds. And then Tuesday, we're looking at partly cloudy skies and a 20% chance of showers. We've got local news coming up next. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
This is a special report from ABC News. Biden drops out. I'm Sherry Preston. World leaders are reacting to the news that President Biden has withdrawn from the 2024 presidential race. Here's ABC's Tom Rivers at the foreign desk.
At the recent NATO summit, Keir Starmer said after his one-on-one with Joe Biden, he was sharp. Now, that same prime minister says he respects the president's decision. Elsewhere, Germany's Olaf Scholz, whose party recently came in a dismal third in EU elections, was quick to praise the man who said Nord Stream 2 would not come online. Elsewhere in Russia, questions persist as to whether the decision was in fact voluntary.
Now, as for the Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump,
we know from our sources that the Trump team has been building a book to take on Kamala Harris, attack her for some of her past statements, and do everything they can to tie her to Joe Biden.
That's ABC senior investigative producer John Santucci. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And good morning. Welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. My co-host this morning is Brett Witkowski, taking a look at some of the news that we're covering for you today from the WSJM Newsroom. With President Joe Biden dropping his re-election bid on Sunday, Democrats around the state have been reacting. U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow calls Biden's decision another courageous action in his long history of service to our country. She praised Biden and then endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president. U.S. Senator Gary Peters also praised the president, but has stopped short of endorsing anyone. Congresswoman Debbie Dingell said on CNN Sunday that she's endorsing Kamala Harris. Governor Gretchen Whitmer put out a statement praising the president and also stopped short of throwing any support to Harris at this time. In her statement, the governor said, "My job is in this election will remain the same, doing everything I can to elect Democrats and stop Donald Trump." Whitmer has been talked about as a potential contender for the nomination now that Biden is out. Vice President Harris's nomination to be the presidential nominee is not a done deal. Biden's announcement released delegates previously pledged to him. Democratic National Committee officials have not yet said how the nomination process will proceed forward. They expect to release details of that later this week. Today is the last day to register online for the August 6th primary election. Eligible residents can go to michigan.gov/vote for more information. You can also register by mail or scan a completed application and email it to your local clerk, as long as it's done today. Early voting sites will be open statewide from this coming Saturday through August 4th. Polls are open on Election Day, August 6th, from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. And the Michigan Department of Natural Resources has approved the sale of the Riverwoods property to the South Haven Area Recreation Authority, potentially beginning a major parks project in that area. South Haven Convention and Visitors Bureau Director Jennifer Sistrunk tells us that the 50-acre parcel was acquired by the DNR when plans for a development fell through back in 2008. The Recreation Authority has since been approached by the DNR about purchasing the land so it could be used for recreation. We'll tell you more about that coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. The WSJM Morning Show continues. We've got sports. Dave Wolf is back from vacation, so we'll have that right after this look at state news.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. Michigan leaders and lawmakers reacting to President Joe Biden's decision to step down from his re-election.
All right. Okay. I think you were right in the middle of a story.
No, not really.
Oh, really? We stopped? Okay. That's fine. What do you have going on this week? Anything fun? It's going to be a busy week like it was last week.
I got a softball game tonight.
Okay.
Which I enjoy.
All right.
Probably.
Is there any sport you don't play?
Second oldest player in the league.
Do you do pickleball?
I have played pickleball and like it. I need to get a racket and go up to the high school or out to Lincoln Township, or I think I told you Chuck Heights got his own pickleball court.
Saturday, we were driving by the St. Joe High School.
Oh, that's packed, isn't it?
It was.
Isn't that crazy?
Packed. I mean, if you want to play tennis, good luck.
That must be the fastest growing sport around. But I don't
know what else is. Yeah,
I like it. I enjoy playing. I need to play more of that. Wednesday and part of Wednesday and part of Thursday, got to go to a conference.
A conference? Talk about roads?
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on with roads?
Just going. It's our we have a self-insurance fund that's, I think, 79 of the 83 counties are part of.
Oh,
so they do a good job.
Okay.
And then they actually, most years you get a refund from them of some sort. So mainly going to pick up a check.
That is exciting. That's exciting. Bill says he was racing. That's why
he's doing the little car racing.
It's RC cars.
RC cars,
yeah.
Which stands for
remote control or radio control. Radio control. I think it's radio control. It's not remote control, right? Diane says good morning. And she says good morning and have a great day, everyone. She wants everyone to have a great day.
That's positive thinking.
It's very positive.
We need that in today's world.
Absolutely.
What happened to that spider?
I think he's over on your side of the room now.
Don't tell me that.
Is that what's that?
I know you
got a spot on your shirt. What is that?
You want $20?
You got to get it right.
I can throw it in whenever I want now.
You got to get it right though. Who
are you to decide if it's right?
Don't feel bad. It's okay. It's all right. It was a good story.
It was a great story.
It was a good story.
No, it was, for me, it was a great story.
Disney has a strike going on. What are they going to do?
That was the happiest place on earth. I guess not.
Well,
liars.
Hey now. I mean, happy is in the eye of the beholder. Disney employees have voted overwhelmingly in favor of authorizing a strike, paving for the way what they say could be the first major work stoppage at the Anaheim theme park in 40 years. So this is in California. This is not the one in Florida, because you've got Disneyland in Anaheim, and then you've got Disney World down in Orlando. You've not been to either.
No, I've been to Orlando.
No, I mean Disneyland or Disney World.
I've been to Disney World.
Oh, have you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Numerous times.
Oh, well, Disneyland is just a miniature Disney World.
Yeah, I've not been to Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland was the first installation of Walt Disney's vision,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time, he put the park there, and there was nothing else there, nothing else really in the area. And then all of a sudden, they were seeing those around were seeing the immediate success of Walt Disney's vision in Anaheim, and they built right up close to it. And they were taking advantage of, and they were bringing things that Walt found unseemly to what he wanted as his family recreational park.
Mm.
So that's why he then started a secret mission with a bunch of his real estate folks and attorneys, et cetera, to put in place what we now know as Walt Disney World. Like 7 or 8 entities secretly bought up big parcels of property in the swamp area, and they made it big enough so that nobody could encroach upon what is Walt Disney World. And if you go out there today, you still drive, as you know, if you've been there, you drive for miles before you get, and you're on Disney property, you drive miles before you get into the parks.
Just amazing how they bought all that property.
Oh, yeah. For a song, nothing. Bought it cheap.
There was nothing really there either.
No, swamp.
Yeah. But he liked the weather because it was nice pretty much year round.
Yeah, except for 3:00 in the afternoon, and then you get thunderstorms, and then they go away.
In the summer, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like here lately.
Yeah, like I said, this weekend I thought it was going to rain, but it held off, so that was nice. It was hot. It was a good day. But we'll talk about what they're striking about. We've got more on that coming up. What else do you want to talk about? You exhausted your sports quota for the day.
Oh, man.
Well, you have some more? Go.
Let's get close football season.
You already said that.
I was looking at the no, I'm talking about high school now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Looking
Talk
at
about
the
high
schedules
school
yesterday.
Anything interesting?
No, things are somewhat stable.
Who sets the schedules for high school football?
Each high school does their own. Some states, the high school association sets it because there's just so much discord on who should play who, but things have settled. They put in a new playoff system 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
St. Joe's head coach Prattley was one of the authors of that and of the system, and I do like it. So the old system way back was a PowerPoint system, which is still somewhat used today, but teams could go 9-0 and never make the playoffs. LMC back in the day had a season like that. And so then they moved to a system where if you got 6 wins, you automatically were in the playoffs. Well, I remember a school in the area played a team that went 0-9 twice rather than playing another local school so they could get their 6 wins. So that system got dumped, and they went to strictly a PowerPoint system. So Benton Harbor last year, they played a really tough schedule, and they got into the playoffs with a 4-5 record, which and some teams went 5-4, maybe 6-3, didn't get in, but they didn't play nearly the tough schedule that Benton Harbor played. So I like it. The only thing I don't like is there's so many times when St. Joe and Lakeshore match up in the first round of the playoffs in football.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it later on. I'd like to see them. They seed it
Build
by
to it.
districts.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them seed it by region, like 1-8 instead of 2 districts of 1-4.
Okay.
Just to kind of get a different opponents.
And when is the first coaches show?
First coaches
Which
show.
is Saturday mornings.
Yep, I have it here for you.
8:00, right?
Because I know everybody's asking about that already. That is August 24th.
Okay.
33 days.
No. 32 days, right? All right, we'll be right back. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Areas of patchy fog and spots this morning. We'll see sun and clouds mix today, highs near 80. A stray shower can't be ruled out, elsewise dry. Lake Michigan's waves staying low. Partly cloudy skies stick around overnight, cooling to the low 60s. Tuesday similar in the low 80s with a mix of sun and clouds, a stray shower possible. Humidity on the rise this week. An incoming front brings rain and storm chances Wednesday. I'm WSBT 22 meteorologist Jessica Burns.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And it's already warming up nicely. 65 degrees in Benton Harbor right now, 66 in St. Joe, 63 over in Dowagiac. And it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg here. My co-host today is Brett Witkowski. Brett Witkowski is also one of the co-hosts of the Coaches Show that happens every Saturday morning. It's at 8 o'clock, right?
Correct.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
8 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Saturday. And Full Circle Cafe has been the sponsor.
And we're hoping that continues.
And you have how long is it until the next coaches show? Because you take a break. We get
about 8-9 weeks
when
off.
the high schools go out.
1 month, 1 day, and 15 minutes.
1 month, 1 day, and 14 minutes.
14 now.
Until the coaches show. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
Got my
anxious?
Got my countdown.
Very good.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
So you and Phil McDonald, you bring in area coaches and you talk each week about some of the stuff that's going on with games.
Yep. 33rd season of Phil and I working together.
33rd season. That's great.
Of working together. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that. At 1:45 yesterday afternoon. 1:45. You following so far?
That's when Biden announces.
Nope, that is not.
Well.
1:45 yesterday afternoon, President Joe Biden's senior staff was notified that he was stepping away from the 2024 race.
Isn't that when he announced it?
At 1:46,
okay,
that message was made public. So his senior staff at the White House had 60 seconds or less to know that the president was stepping out.
Do you think maybe he also anointed his vice president? One, I mean, I get that. That's why you have a vice president. But that his campaign staff and stuff could then move from his campaign and have a job instantly with hers?
Good question. Don't know.
Because she probably doesn't have a campaign staff like President Biden did.
I would assume, given the pressure that the president has been under for many weeks, at least 3.5 weeks,
right,
that Kamala Harris had some inkling that she had better be ready. And in fact, if you look at her on the trail, she was in Kalamazoo last Wednesday, and she looked like she was ready for the campaign. She looked like she was campaigning. There was a bounce in her step. She was out there really connecting. It appeared with the crowd in Kalamazoo, which, it's a friendly crowd. But she was probably being primed for it and being ready for any contingency planned. Does the campaign machine that is the Biden-Harris campaign machine, she's already got the inroads there. They are already talking every day, right, of what's going on with the campaign, what do we need to do, what kind of calls do you need to make today, Vice President, all that other stuff. So yeah, I think that anoints her probably to make the transition smoother. But then what do you do if she's not the nominee? Does the machine then go over to somebody else, or do you have to start something new? It's really tough.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about 106 days to go forward. And then does it really come down to party politics, and can you win that game?
That, and I think money.
Well, it comes down to a lot of money, right?
Well, it was interesting. No more than 30 seconds after I had gotten the text from my daughter, I'm watching TV, and I saw a Biden-Harris TV ad.
A Biden-Harris?
Yeah.
So Biden's still on
They already had bought it.
Well, Biden-Harris. Biden's still
what
on.
I say?
You said Biden-Harris.
Yeah. I'd already saw
But Biden has dropped out.
But they still ran the ad.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, because the ads have to run.
Right. They bought that.
They bought
already.
the ad. Yeah.
I just find it interesting, as I said before, that he announced his, in essence, retirement. and then oops, whatever.
Yeah.
However they planned it, and maybe it was, maybe, and then 30 minutes later it goes, oh, by the way.
Right. Yeah. What do you make of the calls from the Republicans? I haven't seen if any Democrats have called.
Right.
What do you make of the Republican calls for the president to step down?
I don't think those things go hand in hand. And now, do I think the 25th Amendment could be brought up as an issue? I mean, they did with Trump numerous times, over and over.
Why don't they go hand in hand?
Well, I mean,
the election's in 106 days.
Just because you don't
president
want
has
to
said-
run doesn't mean you can't be president.
Okay.
I mean, every termed out president serves out their term, even though they're not running.
Do you think it's a good message for the Republicans to have out there?
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
That
Why not?
message. I don't think it. I get where they're saying if he's not competent enough to maybe run, but now you're getting in a big gray area, and I don't think that message is one to die on the hill for.
Yeah.
Let's let him be in office. It is what it is. He's been the same way as it has been for at least 2 or 3 years. It's not like he had a stroke like Woodrow Wilson.
I would be with you. However, there's one thing that bothered me during the president's press conference that he held solo after the NATO summit, and that was he was talking about anecdotal information that had to do with national security, and he couldn't remember whether or not it was privileged information or not.
But then that's the 25th Amendment.
Right.
And he's not going to resign.
You don't think? You don't think he'll willingly go?
No. So, I mean, now, if they want to bring up the 25th Amendment, I think that's a different subject. But for them, I don't think him stepping aside as president is going to make any difference. And I don't, if you're a Republican, why would you want to give who right now is the leader or presumed nominee at some point, maybe not, but presumed right now in Harris?
Yeah.
Why would you want to give her the pulpit?
Yeah. I think the reality, though, is that there's a reason why the president's stepping down from his race, and it's because of questions around his cognitive abilities.
Right.
Can you leave the United States exposed to that cognitive ability concern for the next 6 months? And do other players like Russia, like China, like Iran take advantage of it?
All very legitimate, but he's not going to resign.
Yeah.
They can impeach him.
I don't think they'll do that.
But they can. I mean, they impeached Trump twice.
Yeah.
Or they could, his cabinet could invoke the 25th Amendment.
Yeah. We'll see if they do that. It is the WSJM Morning Show. We've got more to talk about, including the Moody on the Market update. That's coming up next.
Sometimes when people see things that aren't there, their friends look at them in alarm. Other times, when people see things that aren't there, they're called visionaries. Like Logan Drake, who beheld a stretch of beach and saw an amusement park. While courting his wife, she saw the moon path on the water shimmer like silver. In 1891, his vision became reality, his wife taking credit for the name, Silver Beach Amusement Park. 100 years later, someone stood among industrial ruins and saw a world-class golf course and resort, which is now Harbor Shores. While someone else picked through abandoned buildings in Benton Harbor and saw a quaint quarter for artists, what's now the Arts District. Cornerstone Alliance wants to view Michigan's Great Southwest through your eyes. Talk to us and tell us what you see that isn't there yet.
Michigan's Great Southwest.
Underwritten in part by Cornerstone Alliance investors, South Bend International Airport.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number, Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Hey, it's Johnny Reinhardt, and my friends at the Berrien Community Foundation keep themselves pretty busy with grants and scholarships, as well as amazing opportunities for you to be a volunteer, like Backpacks for Good. That's coming up. It's one of the events that I look forward to volunteering with every single year, and they're going to be hosting 4 back-to-school readiness events around Berrien County. These events will include backpacks with school supplies, representatives from local child and family service organizations, fresh vegetables from A&B Costanza Farms, and other food items as well. If you want information on how to volunteer, that's going to be provided at their website, berriencommunity.org, very soon. But there's a lot of other great opportunities for you to volunteer. Maybe you want to be on a grant committee and go through some grants from different organizations and see what's out there. That's a really great opportunity. I've actually had a chance to do that as well. If you want to learn more about all the amazing volunteer opportunities and how you can make an impact in your community with Berrien Community Foundation, simply go to their website, berriencommunity.org.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
I feel like we might have to have an intervention with Brett and his siding project.
No,
How long to replace the siding on your house?
I'm looking at 6 to 8 weeks. But
6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah. And a detached garage.
Have you seen This Old House? You ever watch This Old House?
Yeah.
They
I've
do it
seen
like
that.
in an episode.
They've done a very good job.
All right. Brett's
they
getting
clean up after themselves every
siding
day.
replaced. Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And something we've been telling you about this morning, this is a development opportunity that we're talking about in the business news as well. Benton Township looking to sell some condominium properties that it owns near Nickerson Avenue and M139. At last week's meeting of the Benton Township Board of Trustees, Clerk Carolyn Phillips said the township owns 15 parcels in the Manor Woods condominium development that they think could be developed into housing. She said Indiana Michigan Power wants to move the power lines on those properties, but can't unless given permission by the township. And for some reason, when they put those in there, they put it basically with the power lines right in the middle of the lot. And so they say we can move those and maybe we can develop that into additional housing in Benton Township. Trustees are moving forward on that. They agree it's a good idea. The power lines will be moved, they say, and the township has owned the properties since 2008.
Yeah, I remember when all that went down.
What happened?
We lived there.
Did you?
Next to it, yeah.
Huh. Well, this is off of Summer Layton Road.
Yeah. So they want to initially, the church that was there before wanted to sell and put in a housing project.
Okay.
And we as all neighbors opposed to it.
Oh, okay.
And so the township kept it was zoned single family. And we would have sued if they rezoned it.
Okay.
And they kept it single family and found a developer who I think went belly up. And then the township got the lots and then they've been selling them. There's some nice houses in there.
Yeah.
I was surprised when you said condominium. It
Yeah.
must be because the roads were not built up to county specs.
Okay. Well, we'll keep following that story and more. That's part of the Moody on the Market update. Thanks for the background on that, Brett. Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. More from ABC News coming up in just a couple of minutes. It's the Morning Show.
Rich Fran and Tara Halsey from Insurance Management Service, your local auto owners insurance.
All right. I feel like I feel like we have to apologize because we had so much political talk this morning. I don't know.
That's why I threw in some sports.
And thank you for that.
My birth name story.
That was a great story.
Oh, now it's a great story.
That was a great story. You can't see me rolling my eyes.
I see you.
No, it was a really good story. You should tell it again sometime.
I'm sure.
When we're not on the air.
Oh, my goodness. It's a great story.
It's a great story. All right. That does it for the WSJM Morning Show live stream today. Thank you for joining us. We've got our candidate series that continues starting tomorrow. We'll do 2 sheriff candidates Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the last candidate discussion will happen with somebody who's running for treasurer. That's all coming up right here on the WSJM Morning Show this week. Thank you for joining us.